We're going to build a page very similar to this one from Stripe. Stripe dogs are among the best, and this page is a good example. Look how, as we scroll, the different step is highlighted, and it also highlights the corresponding code here on the right. And this is a perfect use case for CodeHike. So in the rest of this video, I will show you how to use this library to build this page. We have an empty workspace here, and we want to use Next.js, so we Google how to use CodeHike with Next.js, and here we have instructions. We copy, paste, then copy this one, paste, and then we have some step-by-step instructions, but I know that I can copy from here. We start with the next config.js, and here I already know that I want length numbers, so I add that. And then we have the app.js. We copy new file .js and index.mdx. Now, if we run npx next, go to this URL, we should see this thing CodeHike is working. Okay, now we want to change the text style, colors, and copy the default from the Stripe's website that probably has some sort of global CSS. I think it's this one. So if we add global CSS here in app.js, we can paste this, and yeah, we just copy the styles from Stripes. There are a lot of classes here which we probably won't use, so let's remove them. Oh, there are a lot. Okay, here, let's stop it there, and we have some global CSS matching Stripes, and let's put here stolen from Stripes sale.css. Let's copy now the layout of this page. We have a navbar, some kind of warning, and then we have the content. Let's put that inside of app.js. We can start by adding a title, and we don't have head. Now we do. Let's add a navbar, and here we put abstract dogs, and we can style it here with this CSS. Now the warning, and the warning styles. Let's move this. Okay. Now let's give some padding to this thing. Let's wrap it in an article and a div. And we can use this to give padding and max width to this, to the content. And now we can focus on the markdown. We're going to use the Scrollycoding component from Codehike. We don't need to import it because we are using this remark plugin that auto imports anything we use from Codehike, but we definitely need, this should show a better error, but we need to put some code, and this works like this. I put some markdown here, for example, for step 1, then we can put some code here, we can put more stuff, and then we use a divider to separate the step 1 from the step 2. And in step 2 we can have different code like this. Can add anything here, like for example some items, and this should show the code on the right, and the steps here we can scroll because there is no space in the bottom, so we can add, just to quickly show you, some footer with 999 pixels of height, and now I can scroll, and you see how as I scroll the step changes and the code changes with it. Let's copy the real content now. We can start with the title. And let's copy this. I have a plugin to copy stuff as markdown. Then the second step. We don't need the code in the second step. If we don't put code in one step, it takes the code from the previous step. So if I save this, yes, set up the server. Yeah, that should be an H2. Okay. Now let me quickly copy the rest of the steps. Now we should see all the steps here. Perfect. We can remove this from the top. Now let's show the real code. This is the first one is a Ruby file server, and we can copy the code, and here it is. Perfect. The first difference that bothers me is the width of the code, and I also don't like the scroll bars. So this is how we change most of Codehike default styles. We inspect the element, and here we can see that we have a Scrollycoding element that has the content on one side and the sticker at the other side, and the width comes from this CSS variable. So let's create another CSS file, go to app.js, and we call it something like custom say, and we create it, and we need somewhere to put the variable, and here we put 600 pixels. Save it. We need to reload the page when we change some styles, and now we have a bigger space for the code. Now if we close the DevTools and refresh, this will look even better. Now let's go back to the markdown. I want to show you two things. So in the stripe docs, we start showing all the code, then step 1 or step 2 we show from lines 4 to 7, and then we focus on line 17 to 27, and so on. Each step shows a different part of the code. So how do we do this? Well, let's go back here, and we tell call hike using the same syntax, server, and here we don't need to put the code again because it's the same code as the previous step, but we can use this annotation here and tell call hike to focus line 4 to 7, and then in the next step similar, I think it was 17 to 27. So now we start in the step showing everything, then this one shows this piece of code, and this one from 17 to 27. Another difference is that stripes changes the background of the lines, and we can do something similar with another annotation. It's mark 17 to 27, and same here 4 to 7, and this will show a different background. It also shows a line. We can hide it later. The next thing I want to change is the colors here. Stripe uses this different color from syntax highlighting, and we can see if there is a theme for this stripe docs, and luckily there is. This theme has a GitHub perfect, and this blue color, gray, blue, probably blue. We can copy this with this button and use it instead of, not here in config here, instead of this we can use custom theme that sport, I always forget this, is module sports. Paste this, and we have our theme. But since we changed the Next.js config, we need to restart the server, and if we refresh, now we have very similar colors there. Not quite the same, but they are very similar. Now let's work on the text. Suppose we want to change this, so we inspect it, and you can see each step has this class ch Scrollycoding step content and data selected attribute, the one that is currently selected. And here are the default styles for this element. So we want to change this. For example, we don't want the border radius. Also, we want to change the padding. Let's say 24. Okay, and we want the border only on the left, so border 0 and border left should be pixels, and we make it transparent, so then we can change the selected element, and for example, if we put red, border color red, and we refresh, you see changes when the element changes. So what color is this one? Border color, okay, maybe we can steal this. Yes, it works. There's also the background. This one has a different background. Oh, it was there. Where are you? Background. Here. The background color. Okay, much better. We are missing also the border between steps. I think this is, yeah, it's this box shadow, which is in all steps. Okay, let's refresh just in case. Okay, so now we have something pretty similar. Now the first and last steps here, they look different, so they can't be selected. So we can use a little trick and style them with CSS, with first child, and the same for the last child. And we can change the styles. I add an important just in case. I think I need it because of specificity stuff. So yeah, now it's never selected, and this is the first one that selects. If I go to the bottom, something similar happens. We also want to change this space between the code and the text. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a little space here, and yeah, you can see it here with the dev tools. This is the gap from Flex, so we need to just put gap 0. the space is no more. Now we need to add this preview. We have the code and the preview. So with code hike we can add a ch.preview somewhere in the first step, and here we can pass an URL to make it work like an iframe, or we can also pass some JSX. And when we save it, we will see a little browser here. And of course, if I put the preview in other steps, it will change. But what we need to do now is we can have a component. This is the preview here is always the same, so we will have a component that shows this, and we can import it and show it here. We create a new file here inside a component folder, and I will paste the code here, it doesn't matter. But I go back to the MDX, and since this is MDX, I can import the component from components demo, and now I can show it here. And here we have it. Since we don't need this browser UI here, there's a little prop we can use, frameless, that should remove it, and there it is. Now let's make the right side look more like this. So we need to switch the preview and the code. We can do that. This right side is called sticker, ch Scrollycoding sticker, and it is a flex container, so we can change the flow or the direction with flex flow column. I need autocomplete here. Okay, and we also remove the gap. Important. We also want to change the background color of the sticker, which will be this. And we want border radius of 4 pixels. We also want this divider here, which is a box shadow, and we need to add it probably here to Scrollycoding preview. Scrollycoding preview. There it is, and there is border radius. Yes, we need to remove border, and yes, there it is. Let's also remove these 3 dots, which is ch frame buttons. Just put display none, and it should be good. Yes. Now we want to remove this line from the highlight. This is this class, and this is actually, it's not a border, it's a background. So if we put background none, important, just in case, the line is gone, and the background here here is different than the one from Stripe, so let's also change it. This is probably here. This color is also important. Okay, yes, now we have the same colors for the highlights. Another thing we are missing is the rest of the files. So here we have 4 files, and in the MDX we only have 1. If we want more files, we need to wrap the code inside this ch code, and here we can put more things, like the next one is HTML, checkout.html, and if we copy this, paste it here, and go back here, now we have 2 files. A little tip here, when I paste this code, the HTML, you'll see that Prettier will format some of the code. For example, look at the image. When I save this, Prettier will run and format this. If you don't want that, you can add a comment here. Then when I copy this and paste it here, the code will stay the same. Let's add the rest of the files. And now we add the rest of the steps. So far we have these 2, and we need to define a product to sell. So we need to keep adding this. And now we have a page that is very similar to the one from Stripe. You can see how it changes every time I change. And for example, here we will go to a different file. As we scroll, check out HTML, and of course I can change the tab. Can go back up. We can also change the size. It should still work. And there's one more thing. You see how Stripe has this link to a text version, which is like more static version? Well, you can have the same with code hike. It's actually a breakpoint with a media query that you can set up in the settings, and it will show this static version, and each code is from the place. For example, we have previously checkout page, and this is here, and we have the code here. Now let's go to the second step, set up the server. So you see we have the code here. If we move it just below the title, you will see it here now. So even if this doesn't matter in the other version, it matters in this mobile or static version. And this also is the style we use for the print version. If you print it, you also have this static version. If you look at the files here, it's amazing how much we've done using MDX, some JSX, and CSS. We didn't write any logic, any event handler, any effect, or anything. If you find this video helpful, let me know and I will make more. For the next one, I'm thinking either this one from Apple, from Swift, or the Tailwinds landing page. I can do this, and also probably this. And let me know which one you prefer. So the code for the demo is in this repo inside the codehike.org, not Stripe. Here we also have the link for the live demo. I put the links in the video description. If you have any questions or anything, you can leave it here on YouTube, or go to GitHub discussions on the codehike repo, which is here, or issues if you have any issues. And if you want to help Codehike, the best way is to sponsor it. I will also leave this link on the description, and thank you a lot.